Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's video is going to be about my favorite protein. If you've had the operation, you know that protein is a big factor. After the operation, you need to find as many little different ways as you can to get in your protein. Where I was operated, they advised us that the amount that we need to reach is 60 grams of protein per day for a woman and 70 grams for a man. So it's a daily struggle to try and make sure that I get my 60 grams of protein, which I admit that I fail more often than not. So I thought that I would share with you some of my favorite kinds of protein and see if maybe this could help you out, or if you have a suggestion of something that's high in protein that I could eat as well. Before I start, here is my little kitty who is watching me over my shoulder, Monster. Her name is not originally Monster. It is Venus. When I adopted her, her name was Venus, but she's clearly a monster and not a planet. So Monster it was. And I guess she'll be sitting with us while we talk about protein. So up first, I think I'm going to reach a lot of people when I say that one thing that I love that is very high in protein is seafood, and usually I eat my seafood in the form of sushi, and I love sushi. Sushi is a real treat, but the only thing is with sushi is all of the rice, because I find the rice really hard to digest. Most of it is rice. So I was looking on the internet and I did see a couple of recipes that are actually really interesting, which I think I'm going to try. One of them was making sushi with cauliflower rice, which sounds very strange. But I have found cauliflower rice. I saw it in Walmart. I haven't seen it in my other grocery stores, but I remember walking through the aisle of the frozen vegetable section, and I remember seeing it, and I think basically what it is they've taken the cauliflower and they've really broken off all of the little florets, and they've frozen that so that when you cook it up, it's almost like the size of some rice. And I've seen people make sushi with that, and they said that it's a lot lighter to eat. It's not so heavy once you've in the process of digesting it. So I think I might try, for the hell of it, making sushi and putting cauliflower in it to see what it's like. So on the sushi, usually I always take salmon, or I'll take shrimp. Sometimes I'll take the tuna, but the tuna I'm not quite too sure about. I love tuna, but tuna in sushi form I'm not too sure about. But I love the shrimp and the salmon. And in general, like, I would say, this is a Google statistic, so as much as you can trust Google, you have 23 grams of protein for 100 grams of shrimp, or you have, I'm looking at a paper because I can't remember all this stuff, 20 grams of protein for salmon, 20 grams of protein for 100 grams of salmon. So they're very high in protein. Salmon is a little bit fattier, but it does fall into the good fats. So I would say eat some, but maybe not in a high quantity. But those are my two sushis that I always go for. Besides sushi, if I'm talking about little added things that I'll eat, I eat a lot of cheese. I always loved cheese, but right now I eat a lot of cheese. I would say dairy products are a huge part of my day. I'll eat cheese. Usually my breakfast every morning is cheese cut up onto an English muffin, and I'll have cheese snacks. And I have a lot of dairy drinks that I drink as well because they contain protein. So I'll just show you a couple of those that I have. And those are the ones that I would say on a daily basis I gravitate to the most. So one that I have at least every day is a yop. I imagine that they must have these pretty much everywhere. It's like a liquid yogurt drink. And it has 5 grams of protein for this 200 milliliter bottle. Now it is a little bit high in sugar, but I tell myself that... So what? I mean, I'm not hardly eating anything, so even if it's a little high in sugar, it doesn't really bother me because I don't eat sugar in anything else. So I have a yop at least once a day. Most of the time in the morning, about 10 o'clock when I want to have a snack, I'll have a yop. Besides the yop, I have cheese and cheese sticks. So I'll always have a Fusillo somewhere. And for anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's really just a cheese stick. It comes in like these little packages. And I'll have one or two, it depends on in the day how many I feel like eating. And these are 6 grams of protein per one stick. So they are high in protein, and you can get, these ones are not that, but you can get lower fat ones, which helps with the fat intake because dairy does have a lot of fat in it. But those are two great sources of protein. Besides snacks, every now and then I'll buy myself. I've talked about it before. It's called the Milk on the Go. I bought one today, and this is my favorite flavor just because it comes, well, I'll show you what it is. It's the Milk on the Go, the sport version. So it has 26 grams of, am I showing this to you in English here? It has 26 grams of protein in it. And I prefer the vanilla one because the chocolate, you have chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, and there might be like a French vanilla kind, I'm not sure. But the reason I don't like the chocolate one is because you're thinking that it's going to be like a chocolate milk, but it has such a weak chocolate flavor that it's kind of feeling like you're drinking like a watered down chocolate milk. And the strawberry one, it's the exact same thing. It's like a watered down, it's like milk with a couple of hints of strawberry flavor, artificial. So I don't really like those two, but the vanilla one, I find the vanilla flavor is just at the right amount. So it's my favorite one, and I had one today, and they're really great. And right there is 26 grams of protein. So anytime I can, I'll go for the Milk on the Go just because of the protein. And let's see for sugar. So like this one has a 325 milliliter versus the Yop, which is a 200 milliliter. The 200 milliliter of Yop has 18 grams of sugar, whereas the 325 milliliter bottle of Milk on the Go has 22 grams of sugar. So for 5 grams of protein versus 26 grams of protein, I'm a lot better to go with this, and they're almost about the same price. It's just that I tend to gravitate more towards the Yop for some reason, I don't know. Another thing that I enjoy getting my protein from is eggs. So eggs is something I'll probably eat maybe like an egg once a week just because it's a lot easier to eat eggs on the weekend. So I usually eat one egg, either fried or boiled. If I boil it, then I'll chop it into a bunch of pieces, and I will put it onto like an English muffin or something. And the egg, it depends on the size of the egg, of course, and it depends on where you're getting it from. But on average, from Google, an egg is about 13, for a boiled egg is about 13 grams of protein. Like it comes from Google, so I can't tell you 100%. I would have to go and look on the egg carton to see if maybe it tells me what it is. But at least one egg a week, and I really love eggs. When I start to eat too many eggs, my boyfriend's like, you really want to eat eggs again? But I really like eggs, and I know it's a quick source of protein. It's not too much, and it'll fill me up just right, because I can't, before it was like 2 eggs plus toast and maybe some bacon, and now I can barely eat like 1 egg. And if I want bacon, then I'll have like 1 piece of bacon, and I don't eat toast with that just because there's too much and I can't eat all of it. So I do like eggs because of the size and the flavor and the amount of proteins that it's giving me. So I think it's the great on the go thing. If you want to maybe have a boiled egg, you can bring it with you, and if you have a fridge, because I wouldn't leave that sitting in your car. But a boiled egg is like the perfect solution. So eggs are as often as I can when it's convenient. Something else that I bring along with me just because for convenience is almonds. I love almonds, and what I do is I go to Bulk Barn, which I don't know if everyone has that. Basically, it's a, I only have the French word. It's a in bulk, well, a Bulk Barn. It's an in bulk store where you can buy, you have like huge containers of food. So you have anywhere from nuts and grains to chocolates, to pasta, to animal food, to tea, to anything you can think of, they basically have it. And you scoop out what you want and you put it into the bag. So I have here, and I love almonds, so I go and I buy some almonds. They're not very expensive, and I get them without the little skin because you can't get them with the skin on them. But I find the skin is a little bit hard to digest, so the almonds are great. And I usually take a handful, about 10 or so, just because that's the convenient amount that I can eat without kind of going like, I ate too many almonds. So I usually grab a handful, about 10. And statistically wise, it says that there are 21 grams of protein for 100 grams of almonds. I should have weighed out 100 grams of almonds to show you exactly how much 100 grams is. But they are really high in protein, not high in fat, and it fills you up. So when you're having those little cravings and you're like, I really want to eat something, but I'm kind of in between 2 meals and I don't want to start the whole snacking process, an almond can be great. So I love the almonds. And another thing that I've discovered, which I saw someone mention and I was like, oh, that's very interesting, because I didn't realize, is that pumpkin seeds are extremely high in protein, which is not something that I would have thought of that they are. So the pumpkin seeds are 33 grams of protein for 100 grams of pumpkin seeds. Now, of course, a pumpkin seed does not weigh a lot, so you need to eat a little bit more. But even if you were to say, like, eat like 50 grams of pumpkin seeds, right there, you still have like 16 grams of protein. So one thing that I'm confused about, which I hope it doesn't make me sound like an idiot, is sometimes you see pumpkin seeds when you pull out the seeds from a pumpkin when you're during Halloween or something, and they're big and white. These ones aren't that. These are the tiny green pumpkin seeds. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's like a little tiny green seed. And it's those ones that I bought at Bulk Barn. So a bag like this. I think this whole bag, there was more because I ate some. It cost me like $2. So for the price, you have a lot there, and it's a relatively healthy snack with lots of protein. So it's the kind of thing at the end of my day, closer in the evening when I'm kind of hungry and I'm not sure what to eat, and I don't really want to eat something heavy because cheese before bed is a little bit, with the fat in it, is kind of intense. So I'll go towards the seeds or the nuts, and sometimes I buy cashews. I try and be careful with the cashews because I know the cashews are high in fat, but cashews are delicious, and at Bulk Barn they're often on special, and I usually buy a huge bag for like $15, and I buy them unsalted. At least they're unsalted, but they are high in fat, so you have to be careful with the cashews and some of the nuts that you buy. Besides that, I've been speaking about cheese. I really like old strong cheddar cheese, but that also is higher in fat, so it's better to go for the light mozzarella cheese. Basically what they told us, or what the nutritionist said, was that a good idea is to always aim for 15 grams of fat or less. Grams or percentage? 15% of fat or less in your cheese. The old cheddar has more. I think it has more like 25. And I know it's a lot, but I prefer it over the low fat mozzarella. But I mean, like, choices. And usually I have my piece of cheese. I'll buy like the block of cheese, and I'll usually cut about this thick of cheese, and then I cut it into pieces. I put it on my toast, and then if there's leftover, then I'll eat little pieces of cheese. So I don't beat myself up too much about it, just because, like I said earlier, I'm not eating that much. Most of my food is yogurt and grains and cheese. So I'm not going into like, I'm not going into the chips. I'm not going into the junk food. I'm not going into all of the other unhealthy stuff. So having a little bit more of fat, it bothers me less than, say, if I were to eat a brownie where I know it's like 100%. There's nothing in there that's good for you. Another one of my favorites is cottage cheese. I've always really loved cottage cheese, even before I was operated on. It was always kind of like a little treat that I could have. And I never really implicated in my head that cottage cheese is low in fat but really high in protein. And I remember when I was seeing the nutritionist for the first time right before the operation, she had mentioned that cottage cheese was a really good solution if you were looking for a snack. And I was like, oh my god, this is like a treat that I really love that I'm going to be able to eat. Because I don't know why I would never buy it for myself before, but it was just, I don't know, in my head I thought it was just a treat that on special occasions. But now it just so happens that I don't have cottage cheese in my fridge at the moment because I have to do groceries. But there's always cottage cheese in there, and I don't mix it with anything. I know a lot of people will mix it with other stuff, like they'll mix it with berries, or they'll mix it into like some kind of like oatmeal thing, or I don't know why, but I just eat it just like that. I'll scoop it into a little ramekin dish, and I just go to town on that cottage cheese. I love cottage cheese. It's one of the first things that I ate after my operation, just because it's very easy to digest, and it had that protein factor to it. And you can get a 2-liter of cottage cheese, and it only costs about $2 or $3, and you can have like varying between 2% or like really light skim milk cottage cheese. So cottage cheese is really one of my go-tos, and I love cottage cheese. So it's a plus for me that it's almost like a treat. I'm treating myself because I'm able to eat cottage cheese all the time, so I'm not complaining. So these are my favorite proteins, and these are proteins that I have with me almost all the time, every day. At some point, I'm reaching for one of these products, and it's just really my go-tos. So I was just wanting to share that with you. Is there any other kind of proteins that you guys really like, that are really handy, that are easy, that are healthy, not too high in fat, not too high in salt, but high in protein? What is your favorite protein? Let me know below. If you enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe if you want to watch more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Yeah? You want some protein? Hi?